In the vast, churning expanse of the Atlantic, where the sky meets the sea in a turbulent embrace, some stories are lost to the waves, swallowed by the depths. In December 1945, 5 U.S. Navy bombers vanished during a routine training mission, and not a single trace was ever found. This is the story of Flight 19, the event that birthed the legend of the Bermuda Triangle. What began as a simple exercise, a flight path drawn on a map, turned into one of the most enduring mysteries of the modern age. Join us as we journey back in time, into the heart of the storm, to uncover the truth behind a disappearance that continues to haunt us. It was a calm, almost placid afternoon on December 5, 1945, when the roar of engines cut through the salty Florida air. At the Naval Air Station Fort Lauderdale, 5 TBM Avenger torpedo bombers stood ready on the tarmac. Mechanics gave them their final checks, the hum of their powerful engines a promise of a routine flight. The pilots, a group of 14 young men full of confidence and skill, checked their maps and strapped into their gear, their faces illuminated by the golden glow of the setting sun. Their mission, a standard 3-hour training flight designated Navigation Problem Number 1, was designed to test their navigation skills over the open water. Leading this formation, known as Flight 19, was Lieutenant Charles Taylor, a seasoned pilot and a decorated World War II veteran with over 2,500 flying hours under his belt. For him and his crew, this was just another day at the office. The skies were clear, the forecast was favorable, and there was no indication that this flight would be their last. Their flight path, known as Flight Plan 19, was straightforward, a triangular route that was common for training missions. They would take off and fly east for 141 miles conduct bombing practice at a place called Hens and Chickens Shoals in the Bahamas, then turn north for 73 miles and finally make a long diagonal leg back southwest to the air station in Fort Lauderdale. It was a well-charted course over familiar waters. The 5 planes, carrying 14 crewmen in total, ascended into the afternoon sky, their forms shrinking into the vast blue horizon. For the first hour and a half, everything was normal. The flight proceeded exactly as planned. But just as they were supposed to begin their journey back to base, something went terribly, inexplicably wrong. The calm of the day was about to be shattered by a silence that would echo for decades. At 3:45 p.m., a voice crackled through the radio receivers at the Fort Lauderdale control tower. It was Lieutenant Taylor, but his tone was laced with an unnerving confusion. "We can't see land," he reported. "Everything looks strange. We may be off course." This was the first sign of trouble. The pilots, flying in perfect V formation, suddenly found themselves lost. Their primary navigation tools, their compasses, had apparently failed. Both the magnetic compass and the backup gyro compass were reportedly spinning uncontrollably. Taylor radioed again, his voice growing more tense as static began to interfere. "We're not sure where we are. The ocean looks wrong." He believed they were somewhere over the Florida Keys, hundreds of miles off course, a critical error in judgment. In reality, they were almost exactly where they should have been, east of the Florida coast. But without reliable instruments and with the sun obscured by gathering clouds, they were flying blind. The situation in the cockpits grew more desperate. With no visual references on the endless expanse of water and with their instruments betraying them, the squadron began to circle aimlessly. This was a deadly decision over the open ocean, burning precious fuel with every passing minute. As they searched for a landmark, the weather took a sudden, violent turn. Dark clouds rolled in, the sea below turned from a tranquil blue to a churning, menacing gray. Winds intensified, and rain began to batter the cockpits, reducing visibility to near zero. Their communication with the ground grew faint, punctuated by static and fading in and out. One of the last clear messages from Taylor was a haunting admission of his disorientation. "I don't know where we are. We must have got lost after that last turn." Their final transmission came at 6:20 p.m., a chilling message that hinted at their desperate plight. All planes close up tight. We'll have to ditch if the first plane drops below 10 gallons. Then there was only silence. Back on land, the silence was deafening. The Navy immediately scrambled to action, launching a massive search and rescue operation. As dusk turned to night, a large PBM Mariner flying boat, designated Training 49, took off into the stormy weather. It was a state-of-the-art rescue plane, carrying a crew of 13 men, its mission to locate the missing bombers and their crews. But in a horrifying twist of fate, the rescuer became another victim. 23 minutes after takeoff, the Mariner vanished from radar. It, too, disappeared without a single distress call. Later, witnesses aboard the SS Gaines Mills, a tanker sailing nearby, reported seeing a huge fireball in the sky at the exact time and location where the Mariner went missing. The Mariner planes were notoriously known as flying gas tanks due to their large fuel capacity and tendency for fuel vapors to accumulate. It's widely believed the plane exploded in midair. In a single day, 6 aircraft and 27 men were gone, swallowed by the sea and the sky. In the days and weeks that followed, one of the largest air and sea searches in history was conducted. Hundreds of ships and planes scoured over 200,000 square miles of the Atlantic Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico, a desperate hunt for any sign of the lost men. Newspaper headlines spun onto screens across the nation. 5 Navy planes missing. Massive search underway, and soon Bermuda Triangle mystery begins. They found nothing. Not a single piece of wreckage, not a life raft, not a scrap of metal from any of the 6 missing aircraft. The official Navy Board of Inquiry was baffled. After a 5-month investigation, they could only conclude that the loss was for causes or reasons unknown. The lead investigator was famously quoted as saying it was as if they had flown to Mars. The mystery deepened, a vacuum of facts that was soon filled with speculation, fear, and legend. The Bermuda Triangle had claimed its most famous victims, and its notorious reputation was born. Over the years, the void left by the lack of evidence has been filled with countless theories, ranging from the plausible to the paranormal. The most common scientific explanation points to a combination of human error and mechanical failure. Was it magnetic interference from the Earth's field, a known phenomenon in that area that could have thrown off their compasses? Did they inadvertently fly into a sudden, violent storm cell or a waterspout, which are common in the region and capable of tearing a plane apart? Some geological theories suggest that massive bubbles of methane gas, erupting from the seabed, could have created a patch of low-density water and air, causing the planes to lose lift and plummet into the sea. And then there are the more sensational theories, the ones that captured the public's imagination. Was it a dimensional anomaly, a gateway to another time or place? Or, as some have suggested, was it the work of extraterrestrial involvement, an abduction of unparalleled scale? Even decades later, the questions far outnumber the answers. In recent years, modern technology has allowed us to probe the ocean's depths in ways the 1940s investigators could only dream of. Sophisticated sonar scans, deep-sea drones, and remotely operated vehicles have searched the dark, silent ocean floors for any clues. Several promising discoveries of Avenger bomber wrecks have been made over the years, but so far none have been definitively identified as belonging to the lost squadron of Flight 19. Modern research and analysis of the radio transcripts strongly suggest that human error, specifically Lieutenant Taylor's disorientation, was the primary catalyst for the tragedy. Believing his compasses were broken when they were likely working, and mistakenly thinking he was over the Gulf of Mexico, he led his flight further out into the open Atlantic, away from the safety of land. Still, without the wreckage, there is no final proof. The Bermuda Triangle continues to swallow stories, holding on to its secrets and fueling our imaginations. 5 planes, 27 men, no wreckage, no survivors. Nearly 80 years later, Flight 19 remains an unsolved, haunting chapter in the annals of aviation history. A routine training flight that turned into a legend, a story that perfectly illustrates our fascination with the unknown and the awesome power of nature. Was it a simple tragic case of human error compounded by bad weather and mechanical failure? Or was it something else, something hidden in the depths of the Atlantic, something that defies our understanding? The line between fact and folklore blurs in the waters of the Bermuda Triangle. This is history and mystery, where the past refuses to stay buried. Thanks for joining us on this investigation. If you find these stories as fascinating as we do, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new mystery. We'll see you next time.